Welcome back to Heidi Talks Expedition Africa. Well, today I'm looking at a very, very special friend with a big smile and a warm, fuzzy heart. Hi, James. James Letters. How are you?
Heidi's been preparing to say James Lettuce all day. She's plucked up the courage. Well done, Heidi. No, it's James Lettuce is here on the lettuce farm, a quiet lettuce farm at the moment due to COVID. But we got to keep on chugging, and that's pretty much we chug along like we do in adventure races as well. You know, we've got a big challenge here, and I think a little bit of adventure racing background in our community, the adventure racing community. I think at the end of the day will help us all get through this thing. You know, I think we've all learned a lot about ourselves and other people in our races, and you know, challenges like this. The unknown is a big challenge for a lot of people. Arriving at a transition and getting that map, pretty much the same thing. The map's there, and we go out and find the checkpoints and tick the boxes as we go along here.
I think we've got a few more checkpoints to go. Hey, James.
No, it depends how you look at it. I'm always in for long stages. You know me, the fewer transitions, the better. So we'll keep the checkpoints few and far between there. We like the long legs.
Oh, so listen to our friends at home who's listening. James is a farmer, as he said, it's in the Knysna, just at Plettenberg Bay, the garden route. A beautiful piece of land. We've been there several times. We were fortunate, to have been visiting them. They're a fantastic, close-knit community in that whole garden route. A lot of adventure races. It's a beautiful part of our country. And James has also, over the years, they were always racing as Team Beneficiaries, and then their name changed to Team Buco when the new name. James can tell us all about that. Buco is their sponsor, and also been supporting him for his other own events, which he's hosting in that area. So James, tell us about your relationship with Buco, because I just want to make sure our friends at home knows that James has done 7 Expedition Africas already. So he's like one of the top guys on our list with the most in the bag. And we've just missed him in 2015 in Swaziland. And unfortunately, he couldn't join us in Rodrigues. But James, tell us more about your relationship with Buco and Team Buco.
So we've developed a sponsorship that has lasted since 2008. The Bull of Africa 2008, we raced as Penny Pincher's adventure racing team, and it's an amazing sponsorship, great, based on a group of people really on the garden route that are out there doing adventure races, but I think also just putting a brand out there that's really backed the community. I think there's a lot of undercover work that Buco does in our community through some of us in our team, etc., and just an amazing company that really has got the heart of the garden route community in particular, right up there, supporting us on the adventure races, us being able to live our dreams. But they certainly do put back in a lot elsewhere. We work quite closely with them on a lot of projects, and I can name them for the rest of the half an hour that we've got. It's unbelievable, and we've just got a great relationship with them, and we do some riding with them, and they really have put something into a sport that is quite a selfish sport in a way. It's hard to project it out there, and that's why we started organizing the events to get people in to do a night run, to do a night bike ride, show them a little bit about what we experience in the longer expedition races. And so we're able to expose people to a little bit of adventure racing in a very manageable way, but developed on trust of us doing the best for the brand, and putting it out there. And it's really been an amazing long relationship, and hopefully it weathers this storm that we're going through now. I've got no doubt that the brand is strong, and it's up to us to make sure that we put it out there enough to make sure that our relationship does continue to grow and stay strong.
Yeah. And James, you also do a fabulous stage trail race. What are the plans for that future, for that event of yours?
I think everything is sort of blessed to be postponed at the moment. I've got very good relationships with all the landowners for our events. Fortunately, a lot of them are farmers. And so we've been able to keep the door quite wide open in terms of the different events that we do organize, particularly the Adventure Easter weekend, which was this year going to include a multi-sport race as well as our trail runs and bike rides. And, we're hoping that as soon as dates confirm that we can put a sport event together, we've got everything in place to actually rush those events. And now that everyone can train between 6 and 9 in the morning, there's no excuse for anybody to be unfit at this time, actually.
So, James, are you going every morning for a run before you start with the farm?
How do you know my little route around here? So yeah, and I've been cutting single track as well, because the one event was going to have a transition here at the farm, and so I've cut a whole lot of single track, and yeah, I've heard quite a few bits of single track and explored a couple of new things around about the farm here. So yeah, you can't sit still. We've got to keep moving and hope that we come out of this on the other side and we can organize something quickly before there's a whole mass flood of events.
Yeah, I think there will be at some point a lot. James, but tell us, like we've got an extensively, how can I say, long relationship, been going for years. And like I said, we're so honored to have you on our starting line and have your support for so many years, not only for Expedition Africa, but you're also doing our 120K events, the ones we have closer to your side at Cape St. Francis Resort. So from your team side, we have incredible support over the years, and we both share adventure racing, the love for the sport. And what, if you look back at your racing career, what is the highlights? Is there any few highlights that's really close to your heart? It can be high or low point. What would you like to share with us? What's special?
I think what's special, Heidi, is what you and Stefan have put into this sport, way beyond what we as athletes put in. I think I organize a couple of little events, and I know what work goes into it, so I understand it. But I think you guys deserve an unbelievable amount of credit for putting this sport back on the map in South Africa and allowing South Africans who are generally good adventure racers, opportunity to get back out and about and express themselves without having to travel overseas. And I think we as adventure racers owe you guys a huge debt. And, that I think everybody's aware of that. But, without you guys, adventure racing wouldn't be happening in this country. We would be dreaming of going overseas to race. And so I think we're actually indebted to you. And yes, you show your appreciation to all the athletes, but we actually really indebted to you guys for that. And when Expedition Africa and Hermanus came up, whenever it was now, 9-10 years ago, it was just such an opportunity to jump in and say, let's do this. We had a fantastic opportunity with Bubbles having just sort of got back in plate. And I mean, there's nobody in the adventure racing world that wouldn't want to do an adventure race with Bubbles. So, we were able to start building a team around that. And so that first Expedition Africa was just such an exciting vibe. And, you guys put so much into it. I think we were only 12 or 13 teams that were brave enough to go out there and do it. And I think once that back was broken and people saw actually the passion that you guys put into it, the whole ball started rolling. And so that first one, yeah, it was interesting. I don't think I've got any big highlights out of there. I would love to have done the sea paddle as always. I think as a paddler, we always seem to draw the short straw with Stefan. He doesn't seem to like water very much. He's a bit of a cat. I think he tiptoes when he gets to the water a little bit.
I'm going to tell him, you're not going to be in trouble.
You'll know. You'll know what I'm talking about. But he's definitely a bit of a cat when it comes to the water legs. And yeah, I think the Drakensberg race with all the paddling that we had there, I think we had, the one paddle leg was 75 Ks. That was a great highlight for us for me, paddling, to get in a boat and paddle that long was fantastic. And then the Macqualand race was really special for me. It was the length of those legs. I love the fact that you said it was going to take us 24 hours and the top teams did 36 hours. It was amazing. You know, it was really, those really long legs, tough out there, cold, being on top of what Sneeuwkop or whatever it was called, that mountain, icy cold, and us deciding to have a kip because we'd got cliffed out, and waking up where four of us had slept on like a 1 meter ledge with about 100-meter drop below us. Was amazing. You know, it was one of those things that was, I flipped just as well we stopped, just as well we called it to have a nap. Yeah. So I think the Namaqualand race for me was really special. Great community. The tourism there was amazing. I mean, Monica, with just her enthusiasm that she put in there, I think, yeah, that lady, if every tourism place in the country could have someone with that energy, you know, we wouldn't need to get overseas people here. They could get South African people to all these things. So that was a real highlight, I think, was the Namaqua race, the long legs of that. The garden route race was interesting for us, being racing in our backyard. It was great because my folks were able to come down to a transition. Heidi's had numerous phone calls from my mom. Why isn't James's tracker moving? But I think she gets hopefully a few of those. It's not just my lady. But it was great for them to come and see at the transitions here in Plett, to come and see us and see that actually, yeah, we do get quite tired, and you know, we're not just out there having a holiday. I think my old man realized that I wasn't bunking work on the farm. So you know, that was also special. Sharing as a local team, sharing it with a lot of locals. It was fantastic for the locals to be able to see something like that firsthand. And you guys opened up a lot of the course to people, which was also, you know, it made a big difference to adventure racing here. You know, it's not a weekend goes past where someone says, please, can't you do this? And I spend my life making little maps and sending stuff, you know, to people to go and explore a little bit. And yeah, I think the garden route race was different for us because Stefan didn't manage to hide too much from us. And so it was different from that respect, and maybe a bit harder because we maybe went out a bit hard at the beginning. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think all seven have been really special. The Drakensberg was also an amazing race, unbelievably tough. A lot of climbing, a lot of weather challenges. And I think, yeah, eyes open to how cold it can actually get during that race. I don't normally feel the cold that much, but I got a bit chilly there. So yeah, I think that every year there's a highlight.
James, you forget to mention, I mean, seeing that you love the water, what about 2014, the Wild Coast? What about that water leg for you? There I gave you sea paddling.
Yeah, I'm afraid I was having ripped off Jeff and Garth about not making it out when we paddled the day before at Port Edward. Svalka and I got properly smoked on the back line and washed right back onto the beach and had to paddle out there. But I didn't complain about it. I said it was a lot of fun. My big concern there was to talk Svalka back onto the boat and get her back out through the surf. I thought our race might have just finished before because she's got Stefan's genes on her a little bit with regards to the water. And yeah, but we got out second time round. But yeah, that was challenging. But we made it in, and the garden route race, I think we're the only boat to come in on the wild side at Buffalo Bay. We were the only boat to land on the beach. It was Jeff and I think. Yeah, we stepped out of our boat unscathed there. So now I can claim the paddles. Don't worry.
James, if I listen to you, you know, like, you just refresh my heart and memories of all these incredible things. You touched on something close to my heart, and is that our amazing people in our country, and of each area, how you were incredibly supported by the locals and tourism, and you know, especially you've mentioned now Monica and the people from the Namaqua West Coast. You know, the first time when we arrived in the West Coast, my mother went with us for the scouting. And we arrived there in Van Reinsdorp, and she said, my mom said to me, now what on earth does anybody want to come here for a race? you know, it was dry, and you know, it was the drought for so many years there, and at that point it was so ugly. And the ugly became so beautiful. You know, you start appreciating the succulents and all the beautiful things that area has given to us.
There were succulents there?
Yeah. So maybe we didn't do the same hikes.
There were lots of stones, I remember that, and
I
thorns.
remember the time. But it became so beautiful, and I think that's what obviously adventure racing brings to us. Like, we could have touched so many areas in our beautiful country. And you know, for me, adventure racing, you know, it's got so many feelings. But I mean, for you, for coming back every time doing it, what is your inspiration, if you want to share it with others? Why after a race you're so tired and buggered, and after some time you think you want to do it again? What does it do to your heart and your soul?
I think every year it changes. It changes a lot on your team, on where you are in your general living space. I don't think there's one single thing that actually puts you out there to go and do a race. You definitely have times where you feel really physically ready for a race, and mentally maybe you're not quite there, and it takes you a day or so to get into the zone. Being with the team, you know, different team dynamics. You might race with the same people, but everybody's in a different space in their life. So, you know, for me, it's the big challenge, and what really gets me going back is a lot to do with the team, is getting the team together on the same page, and getting all of us through the races, through all the ups and downs that are always spoken about. And that to me is always the challenge that really, that sort of keeps me going. You know, I enjoy the scenery, I enjoy all of that, but in a way, I think it's cliched in a way. You know, we do get out there, but for me, it's very much about the team. I see myself as a big team player generally in life as well, and so for me, it's about being part of a team, part of something that's a lot bigger than what I am and will ever be, and that's really, for me, sharing that and bringing in new people into sport is another big passion of mine. I've been at races where I've got way more of a kick waiting for a team that I've maybe just introduced to the sport, or a person that I've introduced, that I've raced with or whatever. Often get way more of a kick out of that, seeing them there, than myself personally crossing the finish line. So yeah, there's a lot of things, but I think every year it changes. There are different challenges and different obstacles that could put up along the way, and so really it's much more the challenge of the overall race, the big picture, the team, the physical challenges, the mental challenges, the navigation. I love navigating. I'm passionate about navigating. I think only Stefan's got more maps than me. So yeah, you know, that there are lots of different things, but I very much get a kick out of seeing people, new people crossing the finishing line. I often get a lot more emotional about that than our own teams crossing, you know, going across the finish line.
I think, James, it's also like you say, because you love it so deeply in your own way, and when you introduce new people to the sport, and like you said, same for me, when you see them crossing the finishing line and they can have a little bit of that feeling, you know, you only feel it when you get to the finishing line. It is such a fulfillment in a way. It means so much more to you. I agree with you than what you're doing it maybe yourself. I mean, from our side, we can just say thank you to you for, you know, also building and growing the sport in your area so much, and keep on trying to convince people, to try to get them into teams, and just to race. I mean, it's incredible. I always say to people, we can try to put the races there, but we ultimately need guys like you, all the guys who's been racing for years, not to leave the sport, just to branch off and to you know, like what Donovan also doing, like with the development teams, and or joining with teams who doesn't got the experience, because you take it so for granted, or it's second nature for you, that experience you have, where somebody else to start by their own is so much harder and difficult, where, you know, they just race with you or in a combination of a team, and it's so a little bit easier for them. So we just need more James letters around the country to keep on growing the sport.
There's lots, don't you worry, there's lots there.
James, so what can I do? As I told you earlier, what can I do to convince you? Because you've been telling me now you love the long legs. You've been telling me now you love navigation. So what must I do to get you on that starting line in Lesotho?
Well, you crossed that bridge already when you couldn't have it this year on the same weekend as my Easter events. So you've actually taken one big step forward. I think the next step will be that maybe we should get a secure prime minister in there, and then I would need to get a passport as well. But yeah, other than that, there's not too much more you have to do.
Okay, James, so I know you've got Buco.
So it's actually quite simple.
Yeah, Buco's going to support you. I know you've got the best team in the world. The team is ready. I know they've been messaging me. Please tell James, we want to do Lesotho. So I know that is, I know that's happening. So now just to get a passport, come on, James.
Well, they're closed at the moment, but apparently they'll open soon. I've got an expired passport, expired driver's license, 3 vehicles licenses are expired, and the offices are all open. So it's all good.
Well, it's all part of Africa.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We can get a prime minister. We get the tourism minister promoted, and then we'll be away.
Anything is possible. If we have this conversation in 3 months' time, it might be a completely different story. But James, all I can say from our side before I say goodbye to you is thank you again for your incredible support, for growing the sport with us, for believing in us. Over the years, we also had the extreme ups and downs of race organizers. Like now again, it's a time where we can't do an organizing events, and we must just believe in the future of adventure racing and in the future of I think, as I told you before, that's part of why I decided to start chatting with everybody, to keep the dream alive. And it's good for my heart to speak with all of you guys, which I know for so many years. So for you, and I just want to say from our side, all the best of luck that side. And I hope, if I don't see you before, I hope you can get that passport sorted out, because I would love to give you a big hug next year, April. You see, I especially already moved my date for you. So big love there at home. And
no, but we'll see you. We'll see you at St. Francis. It'll happen. Don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, let's hope we can do St. Francis. Let's hope we can do St. Francis. Then I'll see you guys.
It's easy. You've done all the legwork. You've got a great venue. You could do it with a week's prep, actually. One meeting with a municipality. They all know you. Stefan's already got the route. St. Francis Resort will have you back any day. We'd all love to go back there. So you just send a truck with a boat. That's all you do, isn't it?
We'll see what happens, and even if we can move the date a little bit later, if needs be, we'll see you in St. Francis.
Yeah, awesome. Cool.
So keep up the training, and tell all our friends at home there's no excuse. We can just keep staying fit and exercise, and we'll see you guys soon.
Cool. Thanks, Heidi. Thanks for everything.
Stefan.
Okay.
I will. Love you.
Okay. Bye. Bye.